各位朋友们好。
Hello everyone.
今天咱们聊一聊它能延寿。
Today we'd like to share about the secrets to longevity.
有朋友们说这是人参，
Some may say that this is ginseng.
还有人说这是什么十全大补丸，
Some may say that is some herbal soup
稀有的什么植物，
or very sacred herbal plants.
大家各种的推荐也挺好的。
So people have a lot of
这
recommendations.
种植物哈，你们俩能猜到吗？
This plant, can two of you make a
你俩都
guess?
知道的哈，先不能透露，好吧？
You know already? Let's not disclose first.
这种东西呢，对于西藏人来说，
This plant, especially for the Tibetan
就像
people,
生命一样的重要，
it is as important as life itself.
并且在这个
It is extremely
中国的历史，
precious.
就是在很久很久
And in the Chinese history, a long, long time ago,
还开发过一个古道，
there was a very special
这个
trade
古道
route.
上呢，非常的凶险。
And this route is actually extremely
第一个就
dangerous.
是这个道路啊，特别的艰险崎岖。
Firstly,
有很
this
多
route
时候呢
originally has no
在
roots,
这个河边上的这个悬崖上，
and it needs to pass towering mountains and cliffs.
人和马就会掉下万丈的。
And if it's not careful, they
还有
may
的时候
meet
呢，
with danger.
还有这个出来打劫的土匪，
And
土
sometimes
匪也喜欢这些
there are
东西
also
还
bandits
是人呐，是人就需要。
or
是
robbers
有价值嘛，是不是啊？就是
killing
这个非常
people
麻烦
and stealing goods.
而这些他们走过这个道路呢，
So this path
并且没
that
有
they
什么
walk,
人烟居住，
there are not
都
many
是比较
people
凶
that
险
live
僻
there. And that's why it's actually a
这些
very
野生
dangerous
动物
route.
豺狼虎豹都有。
On top of that, there are wild
这个
animals
豺狼虎豹不是来打劫这些东西的，是来吃人的。
like wolves, like tiger, and they are there
麻烦了，有问题吗？
to capture their prey.
这个古道是
Do you have any questions?
用来，是做什么用的？
So, Master, what is the purpose of this path,
它是
of
很多
this
年
route?
前它是一个，从哪里通向哪里这样的一个。
Where is the source of it? From where to where?
好，这个古道呢，这个我现在透露了哈，就是西藏的拉萨
So, this is actually in Tibet,
往中国的
in
内部
Lhasa.
经过了四川省，
It needs to pass
最
Sichuan
后
province
到达今天嗓子有点问题，到达云南，
and it will arrive at
到
Yunnan.
对，
So, it's actually from
中国
Tibet
茶马古道，
to Yunnan.
古道，
对
茶的，
对，为什么叫茶马呢？
对，
这个问题了吧哈？
So, this actually,
那这个西藏人啊，就我在那生活过。
I lived in
哎
Tibet
西藏人
before.
他这个吃的主要食物
The
啊
Tibetan people,
没去过的人挺好奇啊。
their
那
diets,
和我们有什么差别呢？
what's the difference between the
西
Tibetan
藏
people's
属于
diet
高
and
原地
us?
区啊高原地区
Tibet
就是
is a high altitude, a cold region.
第一个就是
with
氧
elevations.
气比较稀
So, what does it mean?
那么海拔
the
比较高
The oxygen's
海拔呢
level
不适
is a
合
bit
农作
dimmed,
物那你想
and as
水
a
果呀
result,
麦
many
子呀
crops are not suitable for
蔬菜
growth.
啊它需要点
So, you
地
can't
下
find a lot of
所以
vegetables
这个东西并不是每个
in that region.
海拔高度都适合的。其实海拔高了有很多问题。
Actually, when you are in very high level,
电子打火
there are a lot of
甚
problems
至
as
现在
well.
电车哈，征到了4000米以上的时候，不一定
Anything that's beyond
跑到5000说
4,000
不定
meters,
就不跑了。我是说不定哈，
some
除非
plants
坐
do not
车的
grow.
人现在哈，他已经意识到这个问题呢，他可以试验出来怎么样在这个高原上一样跑哈，否则的话都可能会遇到问题。你像这个电车在美国下大雪的时候，
So, for example,
就
your
没办法。
electric cars, can
有
you
很多
travel
东西
in
就在
such
这个
high
高海
altitude?
拔的地方
Probably
就是
not.
不好用。
It's not possible to use them because of the weather.
那
So, there are no
当地人吃
plants,
什么
there are
呢？
no crops. So, what do people
但是
eat?
放羊可以啊，3、4千米一样跑。对，所以他们的主食就是牛
So,
肉
as a result, the people's diets consist mainly of meat and
你看
animal
我走过的
products.
很多国家哈，
from
就是菜
pastoralism.
比肉便宜，对不对？
对，
A lot of places we
为
go,
啥呢？
the vegetables is cheaper than the
菜容易
meat.
生长，
Why is it? Because it's
它跟
much
菜
easier
种
to
粮食
grow
的地方呢，
vegetables.
就是肉就少。
But in
所以以
places of
西
high
为贵
altitude,
啊。
you tend to
那么在
have
西
more
藏
meat,
它就
and the
贵。
meats are actually
哎，但
cheaper.
是在西藏呢，还有青海的一部分
In
呢，
Tibet,
还有蒙
in
古，
part of Qinghai
很多地方
and
它是比
Mongolia,
较高，
because
有
of the
含量，
high altitude,
所以这个粮食蔬菜比较少。
so the
所以
food,
他
the
们的主要
vegetables
食物
tends to
是
be
肉食。
less, and there
那么西
tends to
藏
be
人
more
吃了
meat
肉之后啊，
available.
这个不太
So
会
the
忍
beef,
胖，
mutton, dairy
消化不良。
products, the butter
哎，
are the
所
staple
以
foods for the
综合起来
Tibetan
就是让
people.
寿命变短。
But because these are high
吃这个
calories,
肉消化不良，
as a result,
脂肪太多
it
了
leads to
啊，没有
indigestions,
蔬菜的这种纤维啊，
and
不
the
能
average
消化。
lifespan
嗯，
was
而且
very
它这
short.
个牛羊肉吃的多，那肯定奶制品啊，对，是吧？奶制品也吃的多，所以身体还是，这么多的高热量、高
I
脂
think,
肪的
Master,
食物
because
每
these
天
are
吃
high
下
in
去。
calories,
嗯，
they create internal heat.
师傅给我们讲过三高嘛。
Yes,
对
Master did
啊，
mention to
就是
us
那个脂
before
肪
of
如
the
果在
tree
我们身
highs.
体里堆积的
So
多的
when they
话，
are
就是
excessive,
还是堵住
when
我们
they
的
are
肠胃
excessive
啊，堵住我们的血管啊，还是
meat
造成
products
挺
will
严
cause
重的后果，像
obesity,
那
will
个
lead
高
to
血
the
压
tree
啊、
high
高
like
血
high blood
脂、
pressure,
高血
high
脂。
blood sugar,
对，
and
是。
cardiovascular
然后严重的
diseases.
话呢，这个如果就是堆积太多，还造成心梗、脑梗。
So
对，
these
这
are
就是
common
三高的
disease,
后果。
cardiovascular
就
disease are
我有
common
简单查，网
for
上有
people who
查啊，就是
consume
西
too
藏
much meat.
可能在很多年以前，他们经常的那种容易得的慢性病，就是三高相关的。心脑
Yes,
血
we've done
管
some research on the internet.
也是跟他
It
们
says that a
饮食
lot of
非常相
cardiovascular
关的。
disease are related to
对
the
对
tree
对，
highs.
主要还是吃的这个油脂太多，
I
消
think
化
that's
不
also
良
because
啊，
of
然后
too
高
much
海拔又
oily
没
stuff
有
that
蔬
eat.
菜，
And also the place that they
是
live,
不是因为
there's
这
a
个原因
lack
所以
of
他们才要
vegetables.
进来查呀？
Is that why that they like to drink milk tea?
所以呢，
Yes,
西藏
that's a
人
good
啊，
question. That's
西
a
藏
good
也好，蒙
answer.
古也好，
So be it
欧洲一些
in
人啊，
Mongolia, be it
他
in
总吃这
Tibet,
个肉啊，确实就是
they
消
have
耗
very high meat in their
这个
diet.
肉食的油脂呢，
So there are a lot
把我
of
们很多
oil, a
东西
lot of
堵死
fats.
了，比如说肝脏，
So it will actually cause blockage
不用多了，
in
就
their
这三个
different
问题
internal organs.
就会短寿。
And as a result, the average
所以
lifespans was
在
very
西藏
short.
有个说法啊，就是
And that's
可
why in
以
Tibet there's a
就是
saying,
3日无肉，
you
不
can
可一日无
live
茶
without.
这个说法哈。
是
对，所以那你不喝茶呢，
If you do not drink
它这
tea,
个它这个食物就消耗不了，
then there will be
不舒
indigestions.
服了。
哎，
You will feel
就是
uncomfortable.
对，
对，
胀啊、难受啊，或者对对对，那个茶马古道其实就是把云南的茶
So
带到
actually
西
the
藏
tree
这样
route,
的是
the
吧？
route
哦
from is actually to
中国的
bring the
云南
tea
哈
from
在这个
Yunnan
地区呢，
to Tibet.
它是产茶的大地区。
Yes,
嗯，
in China,
把它这
Yunnan
个
is a very
制
good
作之
tea
后
producing
压
region
成方块儿，
that grows
压
Pu-erh
成
tea.
饼，压成一个疙瘩啊，对，打了包装之后，
So that's why the tea horse route is from
古代的
Yunnan
时候
to
没有汽
Tibet.
车呀，
In the
啊，这个
ancient
地方也
time,
没法
there's
通
no
用船
car.
呢，
对
是吧？都是陆路嘛，所以呢，只有靠骡马，
So the only way for them
哎，所以茶
to
马古道
transport
呢，
the
其
tea
中一个是
is through
往
horse.
那边贩卖茶，运输茶，
And
那
the
主要
tea
是
horse
由马
route
来驮着走
is mainly
啊，当然有
to
马有
have
骡子啊
the
附
horse
近也有毛驴啊
or maybe
对吧？
even
运
have
输
donkeys to help to do the transportations of the tea
就
from
是
Yunnan to Tibet.
运过去的，是茶，
There's
返
also
回
a
来能看
saying
得到
that
的大的东
you
西呢
bring tea
是马。
from Yunnan to Tibet,
哦
and what you get
中
in
国内地
return
它是
is
畜牧
horses.
是农业嘛哈，
对
Because
它没有马。
China is
对
a there's no horses in mainland
对
China,
对对，
so that's
用
why
来
it's a
来布置
trade
这些
of the tea and the horse. So the
需要什么
Tibetans
羊毛
will
啊
use horse
也没
in
想到畜牧业
exchange
还
for
啥东西
tea.
呢
畜牧业牛羊肉啊、羊
牛羊
油
肉
油啊
啊、
牛羊油、动物
酥油啊，
酥油那
What
些
else
都
can
不
you
吃的
think of?
都不懂。
What are the products do
皮
the
皮革
mainland
呀
China
啊
will want?
还有黄金，
Maybe gold.
西
What
藏
else
那
they
个
use to
黄金比
trade?
例比较高。
Actually, in
宝
Tibet,
石
there is a high proportions of gold and precious stones, as well as medicines.
冬，
冬虫夏草。
对了，
啊，
那也西藏的特产了。
So we have some very popular herbs
所以这是一个
from Tibet as
是
well.
在那个时候的一个贸易非常
So
重
it
要的
was
贸易
during that
通
period
道
of
哈
time
那把
there
这
was a
个
trade
茶其实对
between
西藏人的健康
Yunnan
最重要
and
的这样
Tibet.
子的一种植物哈，运到西藏。那我们今天的这个话题就是它能延寿。
So
哈
today
那茶
we
真的
want to
当时
talk
应该
about
是
this
云南的普
plant
洱茶
that can help with life
这个普洱
extensions.
茶真的是
And this
帮
is
助藏族
Yunnan
人民
Pu-erh
哈
tea.
他们的这个为他们
This
健康
Yunnan's Pu-erh
和
tea
更好
helped to
的
extend the
非
life
常重要。
of the
那我也想请问
Tibetans,
师傅就是那
and
对
it
藏族的
plays
人们
a vital
这个茶
role
很重要，因为他们
for
的
the
生活环境
Tibetans'
确实
day-to-day
比较恶
life.
劣哈。那对于
It is a daily
他们
necessity
这样的人
for the
茶叶
Tibetans,
也有
and it
这样的
provides
一个
excellent
作
health
用
benefits
吗？
for the people.
它对人类贡献是巨大的。
哦，
其实简单来说是这么说哈。这
Master,
个
we understand that tea is so important for the Tibetan people. What about for the rest of us?
但是
Does
是
tea
所
have
有
the same
健康的
significance for us? Yes,
在
definitely.
中国唐代的时候，
During the Tang
有一部
Dynasty
的
in
这个古的
China,
医学著作
there
叫
is
做
a
本草
physician,
经
and he
这
wrote
位
the
大
supplements
医生
to
说
Materia
他在
Medica,
本
the
草经
Chen,
中就写
the physician
他
Chen,
说诸药为
and he
各
says
病
that
良医
various
茶
medicines
为
are
万病
remedies for specific diseases,
听懂了吧哈？
but tea is the
每一
remedy
种药它
for
其实
all
都是针对
diseases.
性地治一种病
This
但
means
茶
that
呢
while
对
medications
改
are
病
targeted
可能
at
是有帮
specific
助的
conditions,
啊，
tea itself has broad health
所以我
benefits.
的感受呢，说这个它其实辅助
My
让我们
feeling
获
is
得
that
健
it
康
helps
的
us
一个
to gain our
非常
health.
综合的这
It
么一个
provides a more
食物
generic
因为反正放到嘴里都成为
treatment
食
to
物了
us. Because anything that you
所以
can put in your mouth,
它到底
it
是
is a
食物
form
还
of
是饮料
food.
哈我们都称为食物吧，它是这样一个东西。因为古人还把这个茶叶用来吃呢，
In ancient time,
在古
they
代的时
even
候
eat the
吃
tea.
茶，你看日本茶道
If you look at
还继
tea
承
in
了什么呢？
in
把这个
in
茶叶啊磨成
Japan,
粉
they make it
像
into a
冲
powder
芝麻
form.
糊一样啊，用开水浇冲一下。
You have seen the way the Japanese
对对
prepare their
对
tea in the
中国
powdery
人觉得
form,
日本人现在哈，
and even the
也拿那个
Japanese
小
in
刷子
today,
捣
they
那个
use
茶
a
叶
tea
其实
brush
四不像，是没
to
懂过这
prepare
个
the tea.
是用的是茶粉。
Actually, they use the
你
tea
像
powder.
这个宋代生产
During
很
the
多漂
Song
亮的茶碗
Dynasty, they have a lot of bowl,
所以
tea
古人
bowl.
就是吃茶，只不是喝
So
茶
the ancient people,
啊开
they
着一
talk
勺
about
子一勺
eating
碗
tea.
的使劲
They
地喝
don't
才
talk
行
about drinking
有
tea.
的可以弄得很浓厚，
Actually, sometimes they prepare the tea to be very dense,
像汤一样，
and they treat it like a form of soup
哎，像粥一样，像汤
or
就
like
好喝了
porridge,
像粥一样往嘴里抹就行，就是个
and they
干
just
的那种
place it in the mouth
对
to
所以这
prevent
个茶叶呢
dryness.
它是一个综合对身体好的一
The
个。
tea itself provides us with an overall benefits.
那它对哪些有好处呢？我们先简单说哈。对，
So let's talk about the broad health
劳力
benefits
劳
that
动多
tea bring
但是
us.
呢，身体呢，
So in today's society, we engage in more mental work and less physical labor.
中国是农业社会，那多数人的工作都在这个农田里
In China, most of the people
都
are
是体力
farmer,
劳动
so they work
所
a
以
lot
你
in the
吃的肉
farms.
也好，油也好，
They work on
其
the
实很快
crops.
经过这个体力的付出，
Well, they may take a lot of
快
fatty
就消
food,
解的。
but because there are a lot of
我
physical
之前去
labor,
新加坡他们给我介绍
they
新加
help
坡
to
特色
get rid of it. When I went to Singapore, there is
但
this
是是猪
Bak
肉
Teh
骨头
type of,
是炖的是吧？
type of
热量
soup.
很高，对，脂肪
It is very
今
high.
天胖一点的人就不能吃。
Actually, if you're a bit on
他给我
the
介绍这个怎么来的呢？
more on the
新加坡不是港口吗，
you're more fat on the fat side, you
过去在那
shouldn't
个
consume
轮船
that.
上装卸货的工人，
So who are the
那
one
个
that
新加
created
坡
that?
就
It's
不干
actually
活儿，拿一
for
个背心坐在地
the
上就热的，一直往下淌水
the manual
像
labor.
淌水一样。
The manual labor
在干
use a
一
lot
干
of
体力活儿呢
exerts a lot of
就
physical
已经
strength,
透支了。
and as a result, they use
他
up
们
a
中
lot
午
of
不是
their
晚上吃
energy.
了一碗炖肉，
So that's why
会不会
they
堵住
brew
心脑血管啊？
a whole pot
不
of
会的，
meat
对他体力完全透支
in
了
the，soup.
吃什
Soup.
么都能消化得了。对。
And when they drink it, it helped them
运动量是没
to
有的。
replenish their
做办
energy.
公室呢，很少
But
做
what about
对。
people who live,
这吃的
who
营养
work
就
in
很
the
好，
office?
对不对？但是你的运动量呢，
Well, yes, you eat the same amount of food, but you don't
这个就
exercise enough.
消化不良。
And as a result, there's a consequence to that.
引发
You
的
may
都是
have
这样
indigestions,
所以当代人就我们
and there are
经常
some
讲三
severe
高三高
consequence
嘛三高是
to
非
have
常
the
常
three
见的
highs.
危害我们
That's
健
why
康
in
的
modern
这
society,
样的一个
many people face the health risks of the three highs: the high cholesterol,
对那三高带来
diabetes,
很多的危
and
害
high blood sugar, high blood pressure.
那首先刚才我们讲就是最严重的就是
So we talk about the three highs will lead to coronary artery narrowing,
就死亡了
making the arteries fragile and prone to rupture. And the most severe consequence is heart attack or stroke,
那也就是
which could result in
高
death
高
or
血脂的话
paralysis.
可能带来脂肪肝呐
And
脂肪肝再严
if
重了
people
就
who
会
have long-term high
心
cholesterol,
脏癌呀都有
they
可
can
能
cause
啊
fatty liver,
高血糖就
and
糖
in
尿病
severe
严重啊
cases, it may
然后
progress
血压
to
严重啊对啊
cirrhosis.
会失眠
And high
失眠
blood
啊
pressure
失
and
眠
high blood sugar
节制
can lead to
对
kidney
对有的
failure,
引发肾衰
paralysis.
啊
对，
对
其实有很多慢性病都是这个三高引起的。
So a lot of disease are
也
caused
是
by
也
the
是
tree
非常
high.
就是非常危害人类健康的。那这个茶叶对三高啊降三高是不是应该
So
很有
does
帮
it
助
mean that
是
tea
吧
has
是不是有
a
讲
way to
适
promote
当的就
digestions
是三
or
高
reduce the tree
很容
high?
易引发三高的这样的饮食啊
对
If we include that in our diets?
嗯
中国的中
Yes.
中药的书啊，
In
它多数都是用这个《本草纲目》
in the
之类的
supplements
这样的
to
古籍啊
compendiums of
不同时期
Materia
有
Medica,
著名的医生的补充，还有呢皇帝的批准啊。
so there are a lot of all this
其实这个
Materia Medica, and
最
in
重要的一
that
点就是能
it
够
was
化物
recorded that
什么叫
the
化物
tea,
对，对，它就是消化的化物，
it can
物质的
promote
物
digestions.
哎，这
It
个
can
这个
also
基本上
eliminate
对
grease.
它尤其是对于这个尤其是说这个牛羊肉的
Especially people who
毒称为
consume
毒
beef
哈
and
不是毒是热气，
muttons,
热的能量。
because there are a lot of this meat creates a lot of internal heat.
有三种，一种呢就是直白的大毒药，你不管什么人吃了就死，
So there are three main
砒
poisons
霜啊啥的。
for the Chinese. First is extreme poisons by the item itself.
所有的毒药
If you
都
eat
达到一定
that,
的量。
When all poisons, when you reach a certain
现在
level,
很多癌症的中药配方之中，还有西药配方之中，都有直白的毒药。
actually today's in a
啊
lot
就刚
of
才我说的
the
这个
cancer
那啥
medicines,
砒霜哈
it includes some
在凡
poisons.
是治疗癌症的这个药之中都有的，就是适当的给一点。
You
还有
gave
其他
a
的配
little
药
of
一
that
起
poisons
它
and
就
you
能够
mix
治病
with the rest, it actually has healing
但是这种
properties.
药都算直白的毒
But
药
such medicines,
那
by
中国的
itself,
中医所
it
认为
is
的
a form of
这个
poisons.
毒是啥呢？
The Chinese physicians, when they talk about poison, what is it?
就是可能会
Give
引
some
发
thoughts
就
to
是
it.
身体让身体生病的一些东西，它可能
Maybe
是
there's
气味
something
叫
that
湿
will
毒啊
bring
对
some
然后
detrimental to the
热
health.
人身体过热叫热毒，
Maybe it's some form of internal heat.
对，热就是火气嘛哈，还有寒
Or
可能
there's
也
some
啊，就是
dampness in the
可
body.
能就是让身体受伤、生病啊，任何这样能够让引发这样的因素都可以称为毒
Or
啊
some dissolving
那
the
刚才是不是
flames.
讲在这个《本草纲目》里面哈，
So
它有这样
Master,
记载
You mentioned that there's this
普洱茶
recording in the
最有
TCM
化物
theory is
啊
that
对是这
the
么说
in
然
the
后能够
compendium
解
of
油
Materia
腻
Medica,
牛羊
it
肉
says that the tea
讲
itself
就是它
will
能够
help
解
to
除
dissolve
这个吃
blockage,
牛羊肉带来
resolve
的身
flames
体
and
产生
dampness,
这种燥热呀、
and
痰
aid
湿
in the
啊，因为
digestions
这样
of
燥热
fatty
其实
food.
就可能引发身体的炎症啊、感冒啊、便秘啊，到最后导致更不好的淤堵啊，而产生其他的疾病哈。
So many illnesses arise from blockages and
普洱
stagnations.
茶啊，这听着挺好哈。
So
就是
as
把
we
身
hear
体
this,
做
we
这个
find
脂
that
肪都给
the Pu-erh tea can
给
help
它
to
化掉
open
了
the
化
body's
掉了
channels, and it also
之前
helps to
看中医的时候
promote
他们
the
就说
smooth
哦
flows,
这个你这里
and
痛
it's
啊
very
或者
effective
有这个
in
病啊
reducing
对
the tree
它就是
highs.
你某个地方堵住了，
通畅
A lot of
对
time,
叫什么
the
痛则
physicians
不痛
will
是
好像是这么说哈。
will see that there's
所以
some
这个
blockage in the
普洱茶
body,
能化解还是
and that's why this Pu-erh tea can
就
help
是通畅了。
对
to
化
dissolve
解
this
把你这个病啊，就是给
and helps to
通
opens the
畅了
body
这个
channels
病
and
气就消
promotes
散了
smooth
就不会
flows.
成为病了哈。
So
对
because of that, it prevents
是
it from
是中医里他就讲嘛，
becoming
就是说这个
a disease.
湿啊，还有瘀和浊呀，都可能是成为产生疾病的这样的一种 造成我们
Yes,
通过啊
and in
血
the
管
TCM, they always talk
这个
about
原因
dampness.
哈那普洱
They
茶呢
mention that dampness can also
化疗
cause a form of
对
disease.
痰湿还有淤
And there's this
对
effect
真的是
of
对身体非
dissolving,
常有帮助
dissolving the
难
dampness,
怪那些
dissolving
丈
the
夫可能冒着
phlegm,
生命危险都要去把那个茶
and
给
dissolving the stasis will
太
help
重要了那不
to
光对
bring
丈夫
health
人
back.
有帮助其实对所有的人都是非常有帮助
So
的
not
哈
only is the Pu-erh
那
tea
我
is
想像
beneficial to
可
the
你爱喝茶
Tibetans,
嘛
it
对
benefits
以
all.
前就是不太爱其实我
So
比较喜
Xiang
欢
Ke, do you
吃
like to
甜的
drink tea?
我就觉得有时候
吃甜
它
的
Um,
好像有点苦
I think, Master, I like to eat sweets
对
because I
茶
find that
是
drinking
哈
tea
茶
seems to be
茶
something for the
在
elderly
肝
and
啊
it's a
那
little
我也
bit
想请问
bitter.
师傅就是茶的这种苦哈
So, Master,
有
I
没有
know
什么
that tea
特别
tastes
的作
bitter.
用
Does it have any benefits for health?
在医学中呢，中医的医学中哈，所有的东西都是有颜色和气味
Based on the TCMs, everything has its color, has a
以苦
smell,
呢，就是
and
烈
the bitterness
哎
it
你
is
可能
also
苦
a
瓜
form of
对
medicines
降火的
对茶
because
叶
it helps to reduce the internal heat.
啊所以苦是对治
So
对
the
治苦的
bitterness
非常
of
好的这
tea
样子的
is beneficial to us in terms of helping us
但
to
好像好
reduce
多那个身体不舒服
the
都会
internal
说
heats.
上火
哎
像头痛啊或者
A lot of time, the internal heats can cause
对
other
上火
effects on
上
us.
火
Maybe
对
you can have headaches.
所以能降火还是挺好的
So to have the ability to reduce the internal heat is actually very good.
哎，还有眼睛红啊，
So what are the signs of having the internal heat? You may have
头发变黄啊，
red eyes,
头昏目眩
you
啊，
may have
血压高
dro-
啊，
对
peeling of the skin, your hair may turn yellowish, you may have a dry throat.
所以他就需要来灭火，
So they need
哎
to
你才能减
fight the fire or to reduce the fire in the body.
还有工作时间长之后啊
And
也会
especially
这
for
样的
people who
辛
work
苦的
long hours
哎
对
or they stare at the computer for a long time and they do not
现代人
exercise,
的这种生活方式特别
these
容易
will generate
上
heat
火
easily.
对他工作很多都是久坐的嘛哈坐的
对所以又
时间长
熬夜
然后熬了夜又去吃夜宵然后再
So
吃一
some
顿
people even
油炸的
take
食品
supper
啊又不消
after
化
working
呀
long hours
就真的是火
and
上
they may
加火哈
consume
然后有
very
的时候
heaty
情
food
绪
like
哈
fried food.
容易让人上火
So it will help
就是
to make the
有的人
internal
肝
heat
火旺好像
even
经常就
more.
会容易生气呀这样子的
So
哈
it will lead
发怒
to
哈
more body heat.
对。
And this is a form of
这个
internal
做
fire.
一部医学古书哈，
嗯
《黄帝内经》中说，
There is this
这个百病生
book,
于气。
The Yellow Emperor's Classics of
对
Medicines.
你想
It
怒
states
伤
that
肝
all diseases
对吧？
arises
伤
from
脾
qi, from energy.
思伤脾，
When you're
忧伤
angry,
肺，
it burns the
恐伤
liver,
肾
and when
对
you're happy, it
这
harms the
快乐
heart.
也好，惊恐也
And
好，
except
悲伤也好，都伤
overthinking harms the
对
spleen,
伤五脏哈
and if you worry too much, you harms the lungs,
过度了也是
and
对身体
fear
不好
harms
嗯
the kidneys.
对
那我有一个问题，就是我
So
们
there are
说
different
人降
emotional
火
changes
对
that
但是
harms
有一些
different
人他们
organs.
可能偏瘦，就是他身体偏凉。
So, Master, some
啊
people
偏
are
寒
thin
性
in
的
general.
哎
Their,
重
their body is
对
more
那他
cooling
可能
in
经常
nature.
泻肚子啊怎么样
They may
那他
experience
这
a
样
lot
子
of
他适合
diarrhea.
喝茶吗
So, for people like this, is
可
it
以的。
suitable for them?
那
Is
像
tea
比较
suitable for them?
清瘦的人啊，
Yes.
脾胃又不好，
So, for
就
people
该推荐一
who
种呢
have
普
some
洱茶中的
digestion
这个
problems,
熟普
so I like to
就是它
recommend
是个
something
加工方法的
to
这
these
个
people.
原因哈，就使得它
So, for those
茶中
with
的
a cooler
那个阴凉
constitution,
的那个能量啊
it is best to
减弱了很
drink
多
ripe Pu-erh.
啊，但是茶的本身呢，还能够帮助脾胃，
Because the tea itself will help with digestions,
所以用这
will
个
also
熟普
help
洱
in
呢
the spleen.
就比较好。
So it's more appropriate if
再用
they
这个
take
道
the
理来
ripe
推理
Pu-erh.
生普洱呢也可以，
Actually,
生
for
普洱
raw
呢最好
Pu-erh
是
is also
放过几
suitable,
年的，
but you want it to
生普洱
age for some times,
放个5年7年的，
more than 5
时间长一
or
些
7
啊
years.
对那以前师傅讲过普洱老茶
I remember Master says that Pu-erh is an
比
aged
较
tea
长了
就是
and that have been
因为老
placed
没
for
有
a
这种
long
标准叫
time.
老，是吧？
So what actually is
不是说
age? There's
70
not a
年
standard
放了70年
for
也
that.
不一定活70年，是吧？
Well, you may want to place it for 70 years, but the person may not even live beyond 70 years.
好的对那就脾胃虚弱的人就多喝熟普或者
So
是
people
放
who
置
have
至少
digestion
以上的
problems
生
or a
普
weak
啊
spleen,
会对他们
they
身
may
体
want to
有
choose
帮助
ripe Pu-erh over raw Pu-erh.
那 其实就是普洱茶，就是熟普，尤其是熟普，我记得师傅讲过，其实对于胃养胃是非常好的。
I remember Master says that ripe Pu-erh helps with digestions and help to warm our stomach.
酸的人呐，哈，
So
经常
people who
会
have
这样
acid
就是世
reflux,
界都变得灰暗了，但是其实时常喝一点熟普，
maybe they
或者
should
菩提普洱茶
drink some
啊，它就
ripe
对
Pu-erh
治
as
胃
well.
酸是非常有效的。
It may help with their acid reflux.
很多病我都得过，
Actually, I have experienced many types of diseases. When I was young,
就是
I also
几年前
experienced
10年
acid
前
reflux. About 4 years
尝试
ago,
佛陀当时在世的时候推荐的一种药，
I tried a medicine that was
那个药喝
introduced by
在很
medicines.
多佛像上有一个圆圆的一个东西，哎，我就试一试，我说这个对身体到底有
I
哪些
tried
好
that before, and
我
it seems
就
to
连
be
吃了3
helped
天，
for me, and I tried that for 3 days.
哦，
And
有一
after
天其实
3
阳光
days,
明媚，
one
但是我
day
感
it
觉世
was
界好灰暗
very,
呐，
very sunny,
我
but I
心情特
felt
别
that
沮丧，
it was I felt very depressed.
那我很快我
I
就找
felt
这
very
个原因，
gloomy.
找，
Eventually, I found the
是我
reasons.
试验这个良药哈，
It's because
吃
I
的太
tried
多
this
了，
cool in
伤
nature,
到了我的
this
胃，
plant.
这
And
个
this
胃酸过
plant
多了，
hurt my
这胃酸
stomach,
一旦过多之后，
hurt my
你的
digestive
精神系统
systems.
就是那么样。
And as a result,
所以很多比较偏忧郁的人哈，通常是
it affected my
胃
mood.
酸或者脾胃
So
不太
people who
好，
tend to be more
所以就
depressed,
容易忧郁。
they tend to
忧郁的
have
人呢，
some
这
acid
样的
reflux
喝普洱
problems.
茶，
For
就能
these
看到阳
people,
光，
for a bit depressed people, maybe they can
对，
drink some
看到
Pu-erh
世界原
tea.
来如此的美
They
丽，
can see that
哎，
they
尤其
can
是喝
enhance
熟
their
普
tea,
菩
nourish
提
their
普洱
tea,
茶，
and they will
哎，
see
就
the
能
world
看到阳
differently.
光。
They will be more
对，
sunny, and they will have
真的
hope.
是，因为它是一个由生理的一种不健康，就造
Because
成了你的精神
a
当
lot
中
of
的
time,
这
because
种
of our physical
错误的
weakness
错觉，
or our
好
illness,
像觉得生
physical
活一下
weakness,
就不
it
对
will
了。
also affect our mental state.
身体好，
对，所以很多时候我们的精神中的觉受是来自于生理的。
A lot of time, what we feel
影响，
in the mental
所以胃
state
酸真不是个好
arises
事。
because of our physical state.
然后我记得师傅也有跟我们说过，就是那个普洱茶它不仅养胃，也促进
Oh, I
消化。
remember, Master,
就
you
是有
mentioned
时
to
候啊
us
可
that
能我们
it
吃
is
的
very
有点过多
beneficial
啊
for our
然后吃完
digestive
之后其实
systems.
身体是感觉不舒服的。
Sometimes,
对，胃胀
we
胀的，
after
就
we
感觉
take the
都消
meal,
不
we
下
may
去，
feel
然后
that
又
it's
睡
very
不着。
bloated
其
or
实
we have
这
too
时候
much
就
food.
是喝一杯温热的
And
水，
during this time, if we
能够
can
促
have
进
a
我们的
glass
消
of
化。
warmed
然后也
Pu-erh
是
tea,
书
it
里也是
helped
通
in
便的，上次我们
digestions.
直播也
It
有
will
说，
prevent
对，
us
然后
from
防止便秘。对，
constipations.
好像是师傅有讲，它有很多的很好的益生菌，在它发酵的过程中。
And I remember Master talk about the fermentation process. It creates a lot of benefits. There are probiotics as well. And the probiotics will help in our digestions. It helps to digest food and protect the stomach and intestines. And Pu-erh also maintains the balance of gut bacteria and inhibits harmful bacteria and prevents constipations.
好的，那个师傅啊，我还有就是听说哈，就是茶叶其实还对人体有一定的解毒的这样的功效。
Master, I heard that tea also helped
是
to
在
get rid of
医
some
书中
poisons in
哈
our
就是
body.
神农百草经当中
Yes,
会写到
indeed.
这个神农尝
In
百
the
草
Senlong's classics
尝过
of
72
the
种的
Materia
毒的
Medica,
其实很多草的毒性比较强嘛，
there are some
最后它
herbs
都用
it has
茶
some poisons
就
in
把这
it.
个毒给解了。哎，对，
很神奇。
好玩吧？
哦，
对，其实我记得哈，当时我在青海的时候，
I remember when I
当地
was
人
in
也是因为
Qinghai,
他是西藏的邻居嘛，
because Qinghai is neighbor to
当地人
Tibet.
呢爱喝酒，
The local people love to
很多人
drink
你
alcohol.
看到醉汉倒在地上，非常普遍的。
It's very common to see a lot of drunkards on the
那么
street.
当地人就告诉我呢，就是给这个喝了酒喝醉的人呢，
And the local tell me that
当地没别的茶，就
must
是普
drink,
洱茶。
let them drink some tea.
这喝了酒之后，你喝点普洱茶，
So after taking the alcohol,
醒酒，
just drink a glass of
它既解毒还醒酒。
Pu-erh tea.
是。
It can dilute the alcohol
我们还往上
and help the liver detoxify
它在这个
alcohol.
普洱茶里面呢，它有一种物质能够帮助我们控制
Because the
这个
caffeine in tea will speed up the body metabolisms, including the alcohol
快
metabolisms,
速地排出去了。
and it will
同时呢，
accelerate the
茶中还有
breakdown
一些茶多酚
and
啊茶氨酸
eliminations of
能够
alcohol
保
from
护
the body.
肝脏细
And also the tea polyphenols and tannins in tea offer some protections to the liver and enhancing the liver's ability to metabolize harmful substances and help in detoxifications.
多工业啊或农业，他们这些地方它水里可能那个就是重金属会多一点。
And also tea can absorb and
多像有
neutralize the harmful substances in water.
如果身体摄取过多呢，也会
The tannins in tea can bind
还会影响我们
to harmful heavy metals like
对，就像
lead,
一样
like cadmium and
都
mercuries.
是有好处的。
So by drinking the tea, it is good
成分
because the forming the complexes that are not easily absorbed by the body.
那个重金属就是进行结合，变成就是不容易被我们身体吸收的一个。
So the tannins in tea, they will bind the heavy metals
我们的尿液啊
and they will form the complexes that are not easily absorbed by the body,
所以茶真的
and then they are excreted through urines
真的。
or feces and give
我
tea
还记得
a detoxifying effect against heavy
茶
metals.
不是传到了英国嘛哈，英国人很喜欢喝下午
I
茶。
also know
但
that
是英国的码头工
tea
人
also
哈
spread
他
to
们
the
呢
UK,
码头
United
的这个
Kingdom,
工作环境也确实不太卫
and
生，经常吃的不
the
好
people
的
that
鸡呀哈，
work,
各种
the
各样的
British
口味
worker,
他们就会喝很多酒，
they,
喝很多
the
酒
dock
当时
workers,
为了
they
这个
tend to
得这些
drink a
病哈
lot,
那喝得醉醺醺的，其实每天上班
a lot of alcohol.
后来终于茶传到了英国，然后他们呢就喝红茶来代
But
替
alcohol is
酒
harmful
啊
to the body,
每天
and
上班
constant
之前喝
drunkenness
红茶
affected the
也
work.
保证了他们的肠道健康
Later,
同
tea
时呢
became
而
popular
且还
in
精神满
Britain.
满的
So
对
the
像喝
workers
酒一样
switched to
醉醺醺
tea.
地去上班
Tea not only
对
has antibacterial
喝茶还真的
properties,
是对于解毒
but
非常
also
非常有
refreshes
帮助嗯
and relieves fatigue, so it became very popular.
那现代的人哈，师傅就是其实电脑啊，看电脑啊
So
手
modern
机啊
people, they use a lot
设
of
计相关的
computers
这样子的电子产品用的很多哈，从小孩到
and a lot of
到
devices,
老人
digital
都是这样
devices,
那
even
茶
children's.
叶对于
and
这种
adults.
抗辐射防辐
So
射
what about tea? Does it help
绝对有帮助。
the people who use a lot of
我们不是说把这个茶叶
electronics
非要
devices?
咱们又不是茶商，对不对？
Well, we are
非要
not
把茶
tea
叶吹成
merchants.
万能的嘛
We are not trying to say that tea is good for
真是这
everything.
样就是说，
But
你这个其实一会儿你们讲的它的科学道理。
You can talk a little bit
我
about
是
the
试
scientific
过因为我
reason
身体
behind
不
it.
去我是靠直觉的。
I
就
use
过
my
去的
own
时候啊
feelings.
20-30年前那个电视机，
About 20, 30 years ago, the
玻璃的
TV.
你要靠近它，女生头发长
When
的
you
头发
get
特别细
close to it, you can find that there's some static.
它那个静电太厉害了，其实是辐射。
Actually, that's also a form of
你在那用
radiations.
的那个电视机哈，你看上3个小时，
If you use the TV for
对
3
你身体是
hours,
不舒服的，
you will find that your body is
舒
very
服心跳
uncomfortable.
不正常，哎
You will
心跳也
find
不
that
正
your
常
heart is not
对，
is
有一个
uneasy,
小孩儿他就不能
and your
上学
sleep would not be good
那
too.
他们家比较富裕，买了个电视机。
There is a child
这
that I
小孩儿
know.
不管
The
喜
child
不
is
喜
very
欢的都
from
去
a
看
rich family,
啊，
and the child is very
每天看4个
addicted to
小时
the
以上
televisions and watch
最后
more
啊
than 4
他眼睛
hours
都
on
花
a
了
daily basis.
就看
She
看
find
字儿
that
到
his
几个
visions
读不了
becomes unclear,
而且呢总是打瞌睡，因为睡
and
觉
the
也
child tends to fall
那
asleep
找医生
easily.
看的话说
They
这
went
好
to
像是
seek
误诊
medical
断了
treatment,
哎，没有办法，哎
but
找我
they
的
don't
师傅
have a way out.
师傅呢也给
So
他
they came to see
放
my
了一个别人
master.
送给师傅的茶叶，
So master had some tea, was given by others. So
你这个
master
茶叶
blessed
拿
the
回去
tea
喝
and passed to the
小孩儿
parents of the
每
child
天
and
至
asked the
少喝
child
上
to drink.
那个大茶壶啊，3大茶
So
壶，
the child
你慢
drank
慢
3
喝
teapot,
慢慢喝，之后呢再去运动。
and after that
哎
he's
喝完
encouraged
之
to
后也是别着
exercise.
凉哈，哎，妈妈带你去跑步运动，哎，3-5天就能上学去，
And after 3 to 5
他
days,
那个感觉就消掉了。
that type of feelings
所以呢
diminished.
喝茶哈，能够对于现在这个
So I think that
电子这个产
tea
品哈，
helps to clear up the bad stuff, the radiations from the electronics devices,
就像解
as
毒
well
一样
as
的
the radiation exposure.
是很重要啊。
对
对我们现代人接触这个电器啊。
So I think tea is also very important for modern people because a lot of people nowadays, be it young people or kids, they interact with a lot of radiation.
自由基呢，它其实就是我们可以理解成一个伤害我们身体细胞的一个东西。
It's a form of free radical.
进入到我们的身体里来。
So it enters our
然后它伤
body,
害细胞呢，你只想
it will
它
enters our
会
body
伤
and
害我们
harms
的
our
细胞嘛
genes
对
and
那
our
你实际
cells.
上能 看到的就是说，你可能会有一些衰老的迹象啊。
Maybe there's some sign of
人
aging.
如果经常被就是这样的辐射环境，
Yes, when you're exposed long term to
对
radiations,
过早
it
衰老
will
那还是
actually
表现是很重要
accelerate
的
the
加
aging
上如果它
process.
伤了你就是那个五脏六腑的那个细
It
胞
may actually
本
affect
身就
your
老化了。
internal
那
organs
就
as
是
well.
像是就减寿了嘛，哈。
对对
So when you
对
affect your
是的
internal
而
organs,
且呢，它还
it
伤
will
我们
reduce
细
your
胞里的
lifespans.
伤了
There will
DNA 就
also
是那个细
radiations
胞容易有
induce
基因
DNA
突变嘛
damage.
然后所以他们就说，过多的那个自由基的环境里呢，就是容易产生癌症。
So in that type of environment,
对，
it
那
increased
茶
the
呢，它
risk
有
of
这个
cancer.
成分叫茶多酚。这
But
个
for
茶多酚
tea,
就是抗氧化的
they
一个很
have
好的
these tea
一个元素。那
polyphenols,
这个抗氧
so
化
they
呢，
are
它就能
able
够
to
把这些自由
remove
基就除掉。
the free
然后它
radicals
所以就像师傅刚跟我们
and
分
you
享
will
的这个
also
小故事一样。
enhance the
就
cell
这个
repair.
就是经常接触到那个有辐射环境里啊，我们多喝茶真的就是能够帮我
So
们
when we are in
把
that
这一些不好的
environment,
因素都
if
减
you
掉。
drink more tea, it will also reduce the radiation induced
所以他们说
DNA
多喝茶就
damage
是抗衰老啊，抗
and
癌啊
lowering the health risks
嗯
from
辐射。
radiations.
还真
科学
好。
道理。
That's the scientific effect of it.
嗯，
That's very good.
那以前哈，师傅就是古人在我们
So
可能
in
发明
ancient
牙
time,
牙膏之前哈，
before
它是不是
toothbrush
就是
were
我看
invented,
书上有讲，就是用盐水漱
I've
口
read
啊
that
或者
people
用
often
茶
use
水
salt water
来漱漱
or
口
tea
啊
for
那这个
oral
茶水
hygienes
对于这个口腔的
with
健
a
康
gargling
也
method.
挺有帮助的。
Does tea benefits oral
其实
health?
口腔健康呢，它和
Indeed.
脾胃相连的，
In fact, to
脾
have
胃
a
相连哈。
good
通常
oral
这个
hygienes,
口臭
it is
还
linked
有
to
这个
our
对于
healthy
口腔里面
digestive
的健康
systems.
问题呢，它可能和你的脾胃的疾病有关系。
So when you have good oral health, it will help
反应
in
对
a healthy
对，
digestive
就是说它
system.
你的这个脾胃肝的毒达到一定程度哈，你的牙齿就会坏掉。因为我30年前遇到一位吸毒的，
30 years ago, I met
他
someone
也是
who
30
was
岁，
a drug addict.
30岁的满口
He
牙，
was
大齿
30
牙
years
全掉
old.
光了。
He dropped a lot of teeth because of
他
his
跟我们练
drugs.
呢，练2年，他长出
He
4颗
came to
新牙，
practice for 2 years
长出4颗新牙。
and he has the growth of 4 new
不可
teeth.
思议啊！
这都是我认识的人。
And these are people that I know, which is quite impossible.
真的就是我们也不帮他的话，他气的就是我要跳楼了。
Actually, the wife came to seek out help because the wife said that if we don't help him, the wife will want to commit suicide.
吸毒嘛，
So because he
做生意
was
赚
a
的
drug
钱全都
addict,
糟光了。
it affected the entire
就因为这
family.
个牙齿的事情哈。那么我在年轻的时候呢，
And when I
我
was
做过一个
young,
实验。
I did an
有一
experiment.
次呢，我牙疼，
One time I had a toothache.
就感觉这个牙呀，这个大牙底下这个右侧
I
底下这个
felt
牙
that my
好
molar,
像往上突出来。
the right side, seems to be having
一
some
咬
growth
有牙就被顶
or
住了
bulging. When I
这个
bite, I can feel it.
我就问师傅，
So I
师傅
asked
说
my
是不
master,
是上火了？
and my master says that I have this internal
怎么
heat.
办？有办法没有啊？
Is there a way?
神
I
奇的
asked my
办
master,
法
any
说是
special
有
methods I
神
can
奇的
use?
然后他们不是天天泡茶吗？跟师傅
So
一起
my
啊那个
master,
地方
they
是
brew
每
tea
天都开
every
喝茶
day.
的
So
我
they
们喝的
drink
是
tea
酥茶
every day.
他把这个泡茶的这个茶叶，因为
So
那
my
刚泡的
master
2泡，
Use the tea leaves.
30分钟吧，哎，他也把这个茶叶捞出来一小把
He，took
哎，
a portions of the tea
念
leaves
念咒画画符，说
and
你呢
he blessed
他
it.
拿了一撮嘛哈，一小撮，咬到牙痛的这个牙上头，
And he asked me to bite at the
塞得
place I
像
felt the
大包
pain.
一样，别说话就让我，
I couldn't talk. He asked me to keep
哎
quiet for a few minutes
就心里念的。
and
那差不
to
多2个
chant.
小时以后，
After 2 hours,
哎，师傅问怎么样啊？
Master asked,
我
what
哎
happened?
哎好像不痛了，
And I felt it. The pain has disappeared, and I took
哎
the
牙就不痛了。
the tea leaves
让
out.
师傅看一下，
I couldn't
再
feel
咬
the
一会儿
pain. And my master
又咬
says,
了2个
bite
小
a
时
little bit longer.
之后，
And I
我这个
bite for
块儿
2 more
外头能
hours.
摸得到鼓起来一个包啊，
And after that,
都好了。
I felt that the
这个牙
bump
床上
disappears
这个牙突出的感觉没有了，
and
就消
the
了。
entire feelings of the tooth pain and the bulging of the
所以
tooth
师傅说呢
disappear.
你用这个茶叶呢，
And the master says that
比如说你吃了葱
you
蒜
can
味道
use
不好，
tea leaves.
用茶
Say
浓
you
茶
have
漱口，
taken some garlic
还
or
再喝上2
ginger
杯浓茶，
and you have
这
this
个味
bad
道也消减了，
aftertaste. You
并且
can drink some
这个
tea
葱
you can get rid of the odor, and you can also reduce the internal heat generated by this food. Subsequently, I know of some people who have some skin problems, so I took the tea. It's more green tea. So we use the hot water to soak it a little and bite it. And after that, put it on the part that, and then they start to have the growth of the skin. So in the supplements to compendiums of Materia Medica, it says that for mouth sores and throat pain caused by heat, you just hold a very little of tea in the mouth. You bite some tea leaves. So during those times, you bite the tea leaves, or you can just hold it for overnight or 7 or 8 hours. You find that the pain will be gone by morning.
那就跟师傅的师傅帮师傅治疗牙痛是一样的。
So that's about the same method. What is written in the supplements to the compendium of Materia Medica is similar to what Master guide us.
小的科学知识点哈，师傅就是说茶树呢，它富含一种就是元素叫氟啊，就是
So actually, in the tea, there is actually contained tea plants are rich in fluorides,
我们牙齿的这个珐琅质，它能够让它
and with fluorides level higher than most plants.
能力增强啊。
So fluorides will help to mineralize the teeth.
加强牙齿的这个
You will also strengthen
好处的哈。
the enamel
对。
and also increase the resistance to acid.
故事就是多喝茶其实能预防感冒。
And actually, Master, I remember Master talk about drinking Pu-erh tea also help to prevent flu. Actually, not just my master. A lot of people, a lot of older people that lives in the Tibetan area, whenever they catch a cold, or when they feel fatigued, or when they feel giddy, they know that they're going to catch a cold soon. So there's this saying that if you drink tea, if you drink very thick Pu-erh tea, it will help to prevent cold or dispel the cold and relieve the fatigues. So maybe when you start drinking the hot tea, you may start to perspire your head. Your body may not start to perspire. But when you drink more hot tea, you will find that your body starts to perspire. So that's why they feel that drinking Pu-erh tea will help to prevent cold, and you can also clear the blockage of the meridian points.
对，其实就是一样，就是预防感冒。师傅说，人如果就是特别疲劳的时候。
And I remember Master says that not only preventing cold, when the person is experiencing extreme fatigue, drinking a cup of thick Pu-erh tea, it can help to relieve the fatigue as well. Yes, indeed. So preventing of cold and relieving fatigues are two different ways in Qinghai and Tibet. If you do a lot of manual work and they want to drink tea and they want to eat some snacks, the way that they prepared tea is different. So what they do is that the best way to drink it is simmer the Pu-erh tea on the stove and then add salt. Not just my master, the local know this. They add some salt because the salt actually kills some germs, and add some milk. Why? because the milk itself will help to kill it, to encourage the smooth flowings of the meridian points, as well as to boost energy and relieve fatigues. After 20 to 30 minutes, you feel that your energy is back, your energy be nourished. So you see that in Europe, milk tea is popular as well. And in India, milk tea is very common, and that is to replenish energy with a very short period of time. Is there a difference drinking cold tea? So the difference between hot and cold tea, what's the difference? What is your body's feeling? Is it the same? No, it's different. But what about the harm and the advantage of it? So let's talk about our human bodies. Are we more accustomed to cold drinks or hot drinks? I think probably because our body is warmed, so probably we should drink something that's closer to our body temperature. Sometimes when the weather is very hot, I feel like drinking some cold tea or iced tea. Well, although the body itself feels colder, but I feel that the body is a little bit different. Actually, the cold tea, or rather the cold beverages, you drink it, you find that you become thirsty. Well, ice water helps to quench the thirst. I remember in Malaysia, I met a young person. Right in front of me, something happens. You may wonder why. He ate some noodle with us. It's a hot noodle. And beside the noodle shop, there is an ice cream stall. He got an ice water and he drank. And after drinking ice water, he ate ice cream. Suddenly, we heard a crack. When he opened his mouth, one of his teeth dropped out. I saw it with my eyes. What happens? You can analyze it. Maybe it's hot and cold, extreme hot and cold, and that's why the tooth cracked. So let's talk about coldness, the type of harm it can cause our body. For some who always eat the cold, I can sense a person if the person always eat a lot of cold food. If it is a woman, it will affect their reproductions. It will also affect your menstrual cycle. And that's because of too much cold drinks that you drink. And also because these days it's very common to have fruit tea, to add a lot of ice. A lot of time when they give you a half cup of ice and they add water, you find that the beverages is very cold, and that is actually very bad for the body. So we actually want lukewarm tea, especially when you are eating fatty food. Drinking lukewarm tea helps in your digestions. Otherwise, it will be detrimental to your health. We know that a lot of people, especially the young adults, they spend a lot of time working and studying. They feel very tired easily. I think that tea may be beneficial for this group of people. Yes, indeed. Well, people who drink tea, they will feel it. Especially green tea, including Tieguani, which is a type of tea, the Chinese tea. What is the first type of green tea? Longqing. Maojian. These are categorized under green tea. So in the south, it is 铁观音, it is half fermented tea. So it has higher level of caffeine. If you drink it in the afternoon, if you drink the thick cup of tea, you will be very hyperactive. And I think that you will have difficulties falling asleep. The caffeine, the effects comes from the caffeine. It is actually causing harm to our body when it's too much caffeine. But for Pu-erh, one of the process is it needs to be of its process of the fermentation process. It needs to sand. It needs to steam it, and as a result, it reduces the caffeine level. Especially for ripe Pu-erh, because of the fermentation process, the caffeine level actually reduces. And that's why it's safer to drink the ripe Pu-erh tea. For people who tend to doze off in the afternoon, you drink a little bit of the ripe Pu-erh tea in the afternoon. It provides the same level of, it's a natural stimulant that can energize the brain, enhance focus and concentrations, and reduce fatigues. In the tea itself, there is also the theanines in tea. It can also help with brain relaxations, as well as offset the overstimulations from caffeine. So at the same time, it makes you alert. And as what Master says, ripe Pu-erh will be more effective in this aspect. So there's a great physician, Chinese physicians. He has this materia medica. And it says that the tea will help to give us energy. So we talk about the tea, to add some tea and milk. It is very effective. This is also proven by a lot of ancient people as well, this method. Yes, the Eastern Taoists, the elderly Taoists, many of them love drinking tea, and they live long lives. Because they drink tea, they are slim, but they live very long lives. A 20 years old, to go to the mountains, they can't climb the mountains. But for the elderly Taoists, because of their practice, because of their tea drinking, they enhance and boost the energy level. They can climb the mountains better than the young adults. Not only that, they have very bright eyes, and they are able to walk quickly. So I firmly believe that tea drinking helps them in their health. Because for people who drink tea, they tend not to put on weight. Yeah, so definitely, Master, thanks for sharing with us that Pu-erh tea can nourish our spleen and stomach, and also beneficial to our liver and kidneys. And also it lowers the high cholesterol and the 3 highs. It provides energy for us while calming the mind. So it's definitely a treasure to extend life. So Master, since tea is so good for our body, so Master, can tea help people attain enlightenment? Tea itself cannot make a person attain enlightenment. But we did say that tea will help in digestions. It will enhance our energy, reduce the fatty substances in our body. So these benefits can help us enter a state of inner freedom and clarity. Yes, so drinking tea can help us become clear, opened, and free from frustrations. It can also help to reduce mental agitations. So if we are able to calm down and we are able to attain a physical stillness, then we'll be able to reach an inner calm. So when we attain an inner calm, then the higher chance for us to attain enlightenment. Because wisdom will naturally arise in a state of calmness. If there are too much oil or too much oily food, if we consume too much oily food, we'll definitely feel very uncomfortable and we're not able to move to a state of physical stillness. How is it possible for a person who has difficulties, who have constipation, to actually enjoy the physical state of stillness? The person will be agitated. I remember Master says that when Master was young, there are some requirements in meditation. Like we should not eat, or we should try to take vegetarian food. We should avoid greasy and roasted food. And we must speak wise, kind words. And also avoid some entertainment venue or attending funerals or celebrations. Or we don't drink alcohol or eat raw garlics, onions, or ginger that can easily ignite in a fire. So in the past, when people practice meditations, actually must have requirements. First is your diet. So those that easily ignite in a fire, to try to prevent them. Like meaty food, like sugar, sugary food. Those that will affect our digestions. We should try to avoid them. I read some documents that says that why tea is spread to Japan is because they are spread by the monks. Because the Zen masters want to enhance their practice, so they start to drink tea. And that's why tea is spread from China to Japan. It helps us to gain inner peace, inner calmness. When we have inner peace and calmness, then we'll be able to gain enlightenment. And I remember Master says about Zhao Zhou, Zen Master. So there is a Zen Master Zhao Zhou. There are some priests that comes to him and seek advice. And the first monk says, "Have you been here?" The second said, "Yes." And Master says, "Go drink tea." And the second monk came, and the Master asked, "Have you been here?" And he said, "No, I have not." And he said, "Go drink tea." So the monk who were present there couldn't understand. Why is it that for the first monk that comes, who has not been here, he asked to go drink tea, and the second said, "Go drink tea." And the Master used a device in his arm, in his hands, and hit on his own monk and said, "Go drink tea." So does it mean there are three different meanings to go drink tea?
就是感觉是不是昭州禅师不想回答他们，让他们
Maybe Zen Master Zhao Zhou don't really want to answer their questions,
礼貌的说法
and that's why I asked them to go
或者有
drink
没有可
tea.
能是说，你们好好的去修，
Or it is also to tell them to cultivate diligently.
有可能。
有可能
Those are
好好
possibilities.
修哈，继续去修。
这也是个非常有名的一个禅宗公案了，每个人的
This is also a very
可能是哎，去喝
popular,
点茶
very
让你心
popular
静下来
stories of a
你就能
Zen
知道
master.
我问你这个问题应该怎么回答了。
所以其实3个人那个的回答，同样的吃茶去。
So although the
昭州禅师的意思是
Zen Master Zhao Zhou said, go drink tea, but each one has different meanings.
因为没有明确的
There is nothing clearly documented on this, what he meant by go drink tea.
今天按照科学分析，
So if we use a scientific way to analyze it,
那你的再推，
we can't really come up with
下来就
a very straightforward answer. So we want to give ourselves the
他会
space
自己找到他
to
想
think
要得到的那个答案。
why.
对对对，
让他
所以茶真的是，就是不仅有健康的好处呢，
So
更会让我们
indeed,
的身体能
tea
够
not only help
啊
with our
能够
physical
增强
health,
清净
it also
还
help
能
with
够帮
our
助
mental state
我们
to attain a higher level of
茶的
calmness.
去进入到
It
心
helps
灵的
with our
洞察和
meditations
智慧
and also eventually help us to find inner peace
对
and attain
对这样
wisdom.
的说法那我们的这个普洱茶哈，师傅就是我记得师傅以前有讲过，它其实是越放越好。
And I remember masters mentioned before that tea, the older it is, the better it
对
is.
我没有听过哪个茶是这样子的。
I never heard of other tea that you can keep for a long time
对，师傅有说
and
就是
the
一
aged
年
tea
是
is
茶
better.
3年是药。
I
7
remember
年
master
就是
says
保
that 1 year it's
10 年
tea.
就是保中
If it's
宝
3 years, it's medicines. And if 7 years, it's a treasure.
它的这样子的一个
And after 10 years, it's the ultimate
随着时间
treasure.
的这个流逝
And
它会
after
在不断
30
地
years,
自然
it's
发
like
酵
becoming
在这个
immortal.
发酵的过程呢，会让茶产生很
The
多更
fermentation
高级的这样药用
process,
价值。
it will create some medicinal values of
老
it.
茶是宝啊，真的。
So
我们
aged
现在那
tea
个慈悲
is
上
treasure.
就是也是有一些有一些年头的茶。
So in Tibet,
2016啊，2018
there are
的
also
那个
2016,
舒服更生活
2018 tea,
还有
Bodhi
这
Pu-erh
这
tea.
款云端的普洱茶是2008
And there's
年
also
距离现在应该也有个
different
10多年
categories
了
of Pu-erh tea. There's also
所以真的是宝
2008
中宝
tea
这些茶
in
除了它本身的有很好的
Tibet
健
as
康
well.
作用，也都是师父
So
加
these
持
are with blessings
也
and
有师父最
empowerments
美好
from
的加持和
Master.
祝福在里边。
对，
So
我们
it promotes
师父
longevities
圣诞也要到了哈
with
药师节
on-site
到来了
blessings.
非常感恩师傅，特地加持了一批我们的这个菩提普洱茶。
We thank masters
对
for
对
blessing
那
some of
这
the
个带着
Pu-erh
师父最
tea.
美好的祝福。其实今
It
天我们
bring
在
forth
这
the
个
best
茶旁
blessings.
边走过的时候，茶香四溢。
And today, when we
是
walk
非常
past
非
the
常
blessed
非
tea,
常好闻哈
the
对
fragrance
那带上师父的
very
加持的
pleasing
走
to
过
us.
相信和有缘
I'm
人
sure
的
with
结缘
blessings
一定
and
能够带来
empowerment from
健康
Master,
长寿
it will help to bring
对，那
longevities
各地禅
and
堂呢也
auspiciousness.
都有会陆续引请到这样的茶。那也希望有缘的朋友赶快去禅堂。
So we
时间
hope
有
that
限哈
those
赶快去禅
it will
堂
subsequently
找到属于你
be
的那
transported
那
to various meditation centers,
嗯，
and I hope that you'll be able to invite them
那我们的
from
普洱
the
茶呢
meditation
其实
closer to you.
其实还是特别有机的茶，对吧，香客？
In fact,
是我
our
记得
Bodhi
就是
Pu-erh
有一
tea
年
are
的台
organic
湾一
tea.
个挺有公信力的一个大学，然后他就抽样了一些茶，就
Actually, in one of the
然后
Taiwan
他就是抽样给我们
renowned
茶
universities,
然后就是它
they
里面的
actually
是有
pick
400
a
种
certain
那个
teas,
农
about
业的一些
400 types
东西
of tea leaves,
农作
and do
药
some
的茶
tests
对有没有
and tests for
是
various
是
degrees
它
of
检验了400种
contaminations.
我们茶什么就是任
And
何
for
一
our
种东西都没
Bodhi
有
Pu-erh tea,
是是，所以
it
特别
passed
干
and
净
is
品质
considered
特别
as an
好
organic
能
tea.
够再有机了，是
是
吧？，
然后又带着师傅最好的祝福
And most
和加
importantly,
持所以
It
真的
comes
有
with
缘的朋友们
Master's
赶紧到你
blessings
附
and
近的禅堂
empowerment.
去饮请一瓶普洱茶。
So
对
do
真的
go
而
to
且
the
不止一
meditation
年了我
center
觉得这个
closer
时
to
候
you
有机
to
会有条
invite
件的
them
话
to
可以
share with your
是啊
families.
这个
越
越请越
放越好
And if
对
you are, you may also want to consider to
然后喝
invite
茶
more
之前我
to
记得
make
师
them
傅还
into
给
an
我们
aged
介绍了
Pu-erh.
一些加减方。
对，普洱
And
茶
I
其实
remember
是大家
Masters
的
also taught us some
对
versatile
不同的
Pu-erh
食材搭
tea,
配起来喝
some additions and modifications. Like, for example, we drink a lot of the liver relaxing, liver detox tea. It helps to brighten the eyes and nourish the liver. We not only just the Pu-erh tea, we just add some goji berries, the red dates, and chrysanthemums. If you drink a lot of this liver detox tea, it helps to brighten the eyes and nourish the liver. Actually, this is something that a lot of our practitioners drink frequently. The items are very easily, you can easily find them and to make them. For those with cold constitutions, they may want to add Pu-erh with the red dates and goji berries. And for those with extreme cold constitutions, they can even roast the red date skins for enhanced effects. And a lot of the restaurants, Chinese restaurants, they will have chrysanthemum and Pu-erh together. This will lower the internal heat. And the last live broadcast, we talk about a method, people who have constipation problems. So in the morning, they can drink a warm Pu-erh tea, add a little bit of sesame oil and salt, a pinch of salt. They can relieve constipations. And I think Pu-erh tea can also use as a form of face mask. For those who have blemish, you can actually use Pu-erh tea as face mask. It can help to clear the heat and detoxify. Maybe you want to place it there on your face for about 10 minutes. Maybe if you do that, you find that you will remove the blemish on the face. Because now we have the Pu-erh tea are made into a tea cake. What about the way to store the tea cakes? Before we drink, do we need to prepare it or store it? Well, how to make it to small pieces? Because our quality is very good. So let's take a look at a short video. So this is the method that you can use. So you can use the glass jars or ceramic pots. You can Don't put the cover on to make sure that they are breathable. Avoid sealing the lid too tightly. And before you drink it, you want to let it interact with the air. This will help with probiotics development. So after watching it, you will learn how to store the loose tea. So Master Sun may want to invite a few tea cake and store it. How can they store? What is a better way to store the tea cakes? So I think importantly is to see how many you want to invite. So it comes with paper wrapping. Do not put plastic over it because it needs to breathe. And the environments can be very different. In general, you can put in the bedroom, you can put in the living room, or in North America who has like bungalows, and if you have a garage, you can store in the garage as well. A place that has airy, because in North America winter can be very cold and summer it's very hot. I think it helps when you alternate between cold and warm environment is good. It make it more fragrant and the quality will be better. So we know that it will absorb the smell. So how do we avoid creating like salted fish Pu-erh tea? Yes, there's such risk because the tea leaves will absorb the smell. So that's why you want to make sure that wherever you place a Pu-erh tea, you want to place it in a place that's not so smelly. So some buy a box, and a box has 40 tea cakes. And this person, the house is small. And this person, the office is selling fish. So he bought the entire tea to the office. And after 2 years, when he tried to drink his Pu-erh tea, the Pu-erh tea tastes like salted fish Pu-erh tea. That's not appropriate. Do not put in a plastic bags. It will turn moldy. Now we put into a paper box. I try to have a few holes. Make a few holes. And this will be safer. If you seal up, it may become moldy. And you want to avoid cover with plastic bags. So for loose tea, we talk about putting in clay and clay jar or glass jar or purple clay jar. So first, do not put in a plastic container or plastic bag. Even if you buy expensive plastic bag or plastic container, they can be disintegrated. Why? By what? By air and by sunlight. A lot of people are not careful, say for example, mineral water. If this mineral water is placed 3 years, don't drink it. Because if you drink it, you feel like it's very dense, because the plastic will disintegrate it. This is something that your eyes cannot see. Yes, and it's difficult for you to dissolve the plastic. It can enter your bloodstream, and it becomes poisonous. So do not put it into a plastic container. It's so even so with tea. You can put in glass container. You can put in a clay jar. Those are fine. And Master, we see that there are very beautiful teapot on the table. this green porcelain teaware.
是非常感恩师傅
很好，很好，
Thank you, Master.
清晰明目。
This is very clear.
也是非常感恩
This
师傅
Qingchi
在
teaware.
世纪我们慈悲音上哈
Thank you,
能够让
Master,
我们广大的网友
that
啊
during
都
the
来迎请
Medicines
带着师父最美好
Buddha's
祝福的
birthday,
非常雅致精美的
we
亲
can
子茶具
invite
啊
this
回去
Zen
美美地
tea
泡上一壶茶
ware
哈
series.
心情很好的在那儿慢慢的品茶
You can
品尝
enjoy
自己
tea,
普洱茶
消灾延
enjoy
寿
Pu-erh
哎
tea,
消灾延寿
and clear
最重要的
calamities,
是每个人
and
每一
enjoy
家都需要的
longevities.
对，
This is
就像咱们
something
讲
that
的
all
茶能
families
延
will
寿
need
哈
it because I talk about longevities as
茶
well,
是茶哈，
because it represents
是菩提普洱
health,
对
wealth, and
我
prosperity.
们还有一系列非常可爱的茶虫。
We also have a series of very
对我们看到
very
我们在这
interesting
个
and very
直播
cute
里
Zen
面
tea
片段
pets
我们看到哈
collections.
真的是很可爱啊，有不同的小动物啊，
There are
哈就是
different
每一个小动物
animals,
它
very
们都有
auspicious
很好的
animals.
寓意。
嗯，是。
啊
Every one of
这个
them
师父也跟我们说
has a
我们
good
看到它的
meaning.
时候呢，它们就带给我们不同的启发。
When we see different
不
ones,
同的启发，比如说
they will bring
在
us
师傅桌上
different
有一个这个
inspirations.
青蛙哈，它在做禅
See, for
啊
example, we see that
对
there
对
is
叫
this
禅修娃娃
meditation
啊
froggies.
师傅说你看青蛙都在修行，
And Master is trying to tell us that even a froggy is trying to meditate.
请这样的青蛙回家的话啊，每天要提醒自己。
When you
好的
invite one of
去
this
修
meditations
啊
froggy,
去就是
you
做
want to
人嘛
remind yourself on the
更加的
daily
善良
basis
啊
the importance of your
说
cultivations.
马呢，万马奔腾，
And for the
前途无
horse,
量。
it represents
哎
good
那
future.
牛呢，牛气冲天，
What
大
about
富大贵，
the cow?
对吧？那
It
龙宝宝呢
represents great
啊
nobilities.
浪子成龙哈
What about
啊
dragons?
云腾四海，
It represents
是
都是吉祥的寓意。
auspiciousness and treasures from all
美
directions.
好的祝福。
嗯，
对
感恩师傅。
一边喝茶，一边
So
开悟
when you drink tea, you gain enlightenment at the same time.
好的，非常感恩师傅，
Thank you, Master.
今天给我们讲了这么多关于茶的这个。
Today we have a lot of new understanding about tea.
是
是，香可觉得还有什么问题吗？
You have any
就
questions?
是也非常感恩，就是每次赞助我们的那个直播的那
I
个
just want to
赞助
thank those who
那也请师
sponsor
傅给大家
our
一
live
个支
broadcast.
持
好，
And can Master provide some blessings for them?
真诚祝福所有
Yes,
的
sincerely
赞助
bless all
我们直播哈，
who sponsor our live streams.
赞助菩提禅修的网友和朋友们呢，全家幸福，
Blessing for you and your family.
健康长寿，
Wishing you health,
大富大
longevities,
贵，家族
auspiciousness,
兴旺，
prosperity,
儿女成才，
and you have
哎，
successful descendants.
反正美美的祝福
It's
满
full
满的
of
祝福
good
就送给大家了
blessings,
哈
and the blessings bestowed on all, to you and your family.
那也提醒网友们，我们下期的直播
And our
时间
next live broadcast
是
time
亚洲台北时间
will be
2024
October the
10月
6th,
6号
Taipei Asia time, Sunday,
北美汪哥
7
华
p.m.
时间是10月
and
6号
Vancouver time
凌晨4
will be
点
October the 6th,
到时候再
4
期待
a.m.
师傅给我们讲更多
And we
精彩的
await
内容
Master to share more
好
interesting
祝福
content
大
with
家
us.
如意吉祥，
Wishing all auspiciousness,
健康快乐，
health, and
咱们
happiness.
下次直播再见。
See you during the next live broadcast.
小小的红点里，人生变得神奇。